All right, everybody. We are here. You guys know we don't start to 7, but
We
everybody just
live,
start
baby.
sharing. We live. You
We
live. So
live,
whatever you
baby.
say,
Yeah.
they hear you.
We live,
so
baby. Yeah.
so
I'm looking
guys, go
for it.
ahead and share this on your page. Take the next minute and
There we go.
share it on your pages, guys, so
There we go. All right. I see it.
we can impact everybody. Yeah, I got quiet for a second. I was trying to share. I was doing it from my phone, guys, and I don't know why I did it from my page instead of Ken Relationship page, but
Yeah, I'm
we're
I'm
gonna
sharing
get.
it now. Let's see where we at. No, okay. Ooh, bro. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. You?
Man, we ain't talking since we were kids. How you been doing?
Man, we ain't known each other that long.
I mean,
but
it just sounds good when it sounds good when you say it though.
we were kids at heart. That's what it was. Back in those days. Back in those days. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna do like they be doing. Come on in and say, all right, guys, it's 7 o'clock, and you know what time it is. It's time for a Father's Authority. Again, this Nate Holloway here, and we are live once again.
We
For
live,
those of
baby.
we live, baby. For those guys, this is gonna be funny tonight because he's starting up already. For those of you who are tuning
Facts.
in for the first time, I always tell everybody what it's about.
There it
A
is.
father's authority is a part of kingdom relationships, and our goal is to reach out to fathers worldwide to change the narrative, start a conversation on fatherhood, and change fatherlessness, and get the hearts of the fathers back to the children. I started the interview series February first Monday in February. Tonight, guys, we got a special guest. I got my man Legend
Yo.
here with me. He's a good friend of mine. I'm going to give Legend's bio, and then we're going to get started. Again, guys, go ahead and share this on your page so we can see it and comment as we go along. If you guys have questions, you can ask us questions and just let us see your comments. Let us know you're liking it. So
If you
his
don't
name
like
is
it, don't say
Nigel.
nothing.
Right. Nigel Legin Anderson, a hip hop and spoken word artist, speaker, and entrepreneur, operates the gospel hip hop label Renaissance Music with fellow artists Sinai and Focus. And if you guys haven't heard them, check them out. It's awesome. As an artist, Legend performs at concerts, conferences, and churches, attracting excited followers through his energy and authenticity. Motivated and inspired by his father's battle with addiction, he speaks at schools and churches on the topics of living with hope, overcoming obstacles, and pursuing dreams in the face of fear. His messages are grounded in apologetics and promote Christian living and racial reconciliation for the health of the nation. As a performer, Legend has appeared on stage with Lecrae and opened for artists such as KB, Tedeschi, did I say that right?
Tadashi.
Tadashi, The Truth, Social Club, Cannon, Aaron Cole, and Flame, among others. He has produced and promoted tours in Hampton Roads, the surrounding regions, and across the United States. With his team, Legend has also performed and spoken at conferences and churches abroad, for example, in London, England, Nairobi, Kenya, and Pretoria in Cape Town, South Africa. My wife wants to go to South Africa.
Oh man, she gotta go,
Uh,
bro.
Through his nonprofit company, Expect Renaissance, Legend and his label mate Sinai and Focus produced a compilation album called Safe House by RMM in 2017. All proceeds from the album will finance the construction of a safe house in South Africa to protect children from sex trafficking. Construction is scheduled to be completed by the first quarter of 2019, so it's almost done.
Bro,
Um,
it's official, man. I'm heading over March 28th to dedicate.
okay. And
That
producing
official.
Safe House, Legend worked with Grammy-nominated artist The Truth, Grammy-winning artist KJ Scriven.
Yep, you
Guys, for
got it.
messing this up, don't charge to my head, not my heart. And lyricist Eshawn Burgundy and Jared Saunders for God Over Money Records. Legend preaches monthly at Crossroads Church in Norfolk, Virginia, where he attends with his wife Tia, his high school sweetheart, and their son and daughter. Legend and his family reside in Hampton Roads. Let's get it going. What's up, man?
What up, bro? Hey, man, it is the most awkward thing in the world to have your own bio read and just sit there and hear it. It's so weird to me. It's like weird, man. Lord.
Man, it's good to have you, man. It's been a minute since we talked, man. Like we said the other night, I don't know. remember how we met, but it had something to do with the radio.
No idea, man. I don't know. I think it was when you was out there on the streets and stuff. When I came preaching the
No,
gospel and you got your life together.
don't tell that. Don't tell that. I think I remember what it was. I think Golden Child, somebody did something at a church over in Portsmouth off of it used to be a bowling alley. I don't remember, but I remember the pastor. The pastor was a rapper too. I remember him.
And
When,
there was a bowling alley church in Portsmouth.
Yep.
Oh, George Washington, wasn't it?
Yep.
I remember that
think,
thing, man.
I think that's where we met. Well, let's get
That's
it started, man. Tell us a little bit. Tell us about yourself, man, and about your life with or without your father, man.
Yeah, man. So just me, man. Like you said, artist, speaker, run a nonprofit, run a label. Always love the arts. Quick adjustment to that bio. We didn't send you the updated one, but the artists are all independent now. Sign out Focus doing their own thing, but go follow them because they're amazing. But I've been just love music. Music became an outlet for me when I was growing up, trying to figure out who am I and who am I supposed to be, because my dad wasn't in the picture. So I was looking for figures to fill that gap and that void. And I looked to music, I looked to the arts, I looked to hip hop. I'm like, hey man, these guys, like, they got it all together. Let me adjust my life around the worldview that they're teaching, because something must have worked out for them. And really, man, I love the music always, but I didn't realize till looking back that I started to look for how can I form the image of a man based on what I was seeing. So music played a foundational role in my life. The culture of hip hop played a foundational role in my life, with its pros and its cons, morality and all that jazz. But so I've always been in music, man. But as far as life without my dad, I mean, I could take you back to the beginning if that's what you're asking. I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay, man. Whatever you want to tell us, man.
Yeah. So I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and I had a beautiful home, born there, great family. But around the time I was born, 10 years of happy marriage, around the time I came, within the 6-month span, my father's, he lost both of his parents, as well as his first son was born. And he turned to, the bottle turned into some other things. And before we knew it, my mother was fighting with rehab and trying to save her marriage and her husband. And he decided not to give up those things he was addicted to. And that turned into her making a decision at 5 years of age for me that she needed to get me out of that home, so I didn't grow up there in a drug and alcohol, addicted home. So moved back to Virginia Beach, where she's from, where all my folks are from, and this is where I've been ever since, Hampton Roads. So just growing up without a dad, I still remember coming back home, man, in 1989. Actually, I remember coming home, man, and to my grandmother's home, and her stooping down, like, how would you like to live with grandma? And I remember just my 5-year-old brain, like, yeah, great, sounds good. When's dad coming? And her not, and the look on her face, like, what do I say now, kind of thing. And still not registering that. But, fast forward some, you get a call here and there every once in a while. Found out there were more drunken phone calls than not that my mother would not let me take. But there was just absence. And the breaking point for me, because there comes a time in a young man's life when he just kind of like snaps, or things fall apart, or you realize that, oh, he's not here because he's making a choice not to be here. So what does that say about me, and what does it say about him? And for me, it was around 12 or so. He had called, we spoke, and he made a promise that, hey man, I just bought this brand new cherry red Mustang. I'm coming to pick you up. We're going to spend the whole summer together. So I packed my bags and waited by the door and stared out the window for 3 days.
Wow.
And yeah, so when he didn't show, and my mother didn't really know what to tell me, I wasn't going to hear it. And it was heartbreaking for her to have to see me do that, but she didn't really know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So when I realized it wasn't coming, and I think that long walk back to my room with my suitcase was when it was like, all right, well, F him too then. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. And I wasn't a bad kid, but you start doing whatever you want to do. You start, pushing back against other people trying to tell you what to do. Since authority hasn't been modeled, you don't want to hear from anybody else, You ever had that thing, bro, when like, the old dude will come up to you and they're just talking, it's just greeting, but they're like, hey son. And that joint's like mad offensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, don't call me son. I don't know you, bro. Like, it's just an old black dude greeting. Nothing wrong with it, but like, I to this day I don't like it, And I'm not offended anymore, but it's just not my favorite thing.
Because you're not you were hurt by not hearing it from your dad, because, and I experienced that, and so it's like somebody say, "Hey, son," you thinking, "Oh, you're gonna do what just happened." Back in the past,
Right.
you're not gonna be there. You just saying that, so you're not coming. You just lying to me. You just want to call me son just to say it.
Right.
You
And
know?
even I think even because you've learned to live without it, that you don't want to
Yeah.
remind it that you don't know what it feels like. So I'm like, just don't bring it up, man. Like, if you don't know me like that, don't even try to make that sort of intimate response or greeting. I don't even want it. So around 20, man, he wrote me a letter and said he wanted to link up. He wanted to apologize for the past. So he came down to Virginia Beach. I met him for the first time. My whole plan was just to punch him in the face and leave. And we ended up meeting, and we ended up like, when I saw his face and saw what drug addiction had done, this man's in his 50s looking 80, eyes yellow. My hatred turned to pity for that moment. And we had a real good time, man, getting to know each other, having dinner. I had one of the best dinners I ever had in my life, man. I had one meal with my dad my entire life, as far as after 5 years old. And at the end, he wanted a hug. And I pushed him away. Like, nah, man, you don't get a hug. I don't, no. All I know how to do is hate you. I can't give that up. And for 9 months, he tried. He would call me. I'd cuss him out, hang up. And just to make a long story shorter, at the end of 9 months, I look back and I see the Lord was working on me. I wasn't walking with the Lord at the time, but I just felt like I wanted to forgive him. So I called him, told him I forgave him. I want to know what it's like to have a dad in my life. And the only way to describe it, bro, is like you can feel the chains fall off of this man. Like, I don't know what that means, but it's just like over the phone, you could feel the weight lift. Wow. And he wanted to come see me. And I was like, nah, man, I ain't ready for all that. But like, let's just take it easy. I forgive you. I love you. I want to know what this relationship is like. And after that phone, that was our last conversation. I forgive you. Right after that phone call, he passed away.
Wow.
So our last conversation on this earth was literally, I forgive you.
So how did you feel? How did you feel after that? I know how you felt, but what was going through your mind after you found out he passed?
Well, my whole world was kind of crumbling, because like the business I was in was crumbling around me. Some stuff was, people I put my trust into was falling. My dad pops back into my life, this big gaping void. I finally said, all right, I'm going to take this step and forgive him. I forgive him. And then he dies. I felt like everything was being taken from me. And I just felt like, wow, like, what's the point? I remember just being up late one night, just crying. Little prayer counselor comes on TV. If you need prayer, call. I remember calling and asking him, like, what's the point of waking up? Is this life? You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is wrong. And I just woke. I don't know what happened, but I remember waking up the next morning, like, you know what, God, I give up, because I'm trying to run life myself and I can't do it. And I gave up, and I just hit my knees and came to Christ. And ever since I did that, everything on the inside of me changed, and what I was trying to seek my validation in changed. And I've just been running after God ever since, man. And I've just been in love with God ever since that. So,
wow, it's amazing how God uses our pains to get to as a doorway to reach out to us, to get us to Him. Because when we're going through pain, we're looking for an out. We're looking for some medication for that pain, and the best medication for pain is Christ. And man, that's an awesome story, man. It's an awesome story of how you can forgive. I think when we were talking before this, and I said this before on live, that my biological father, I've never met him. He's a big time musician all the way across the other side of the world. And I always said that if he were to come back today and said, I want to know you, now forgive him. I even sent him an email, said, I forgive you. It's like, I don't even want to know what happened, why you left, or whose fault it was. I don't care. I just want to start over, start fresh. I want to know that side of me. And if after that you want to be done, we're done. I got a message back, said, leave me alone. But, it hurt.
Jesus, really? Dang, bro.
Yeah, I got a message back. He said, leave me alone. But even to this day, if you were to come back, I would be there with open arms.
Yeah.
So, but that's an awesome story, man. So let me ask you, what does father?
That's a sad, broken man right there, bro. That he could.
Yeah, and he has a whole another family um
Mm-hmm.
on the other side. But it's I don't know what's going through his head. I don't know what's going through his mind. All I can do is just, like you said, just be that Christ follower and show Christ when he comes. Just say, "I forgive you. Let's move on." It's not as easy as it may seem, but it's gonna. I got to make the hard choice and
Yeah,
and and say that. So let me ask you, what does fatherhood mean to you?
man. For me, bro, I think it means legacy. I think it means like I've been reflecting a lot lately. My daughter's 8, my son's 5, and I've been thinking a lot lately about what do I want for them, and I want them to have a better leg up on life than me. I had the greatest mother in the world, still do. Like I don't care how good anybody's mom is. It's by default,
Mhm.
she number 2. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but and it's just been good. Like, but for me, it's like on her best day, she can only give me 50%. On her best day, perfect day, she could only give me half. Growing up, so I'm here, my wife's here. I want to give my now that we got the tools to give my kids what we didn't have. I want to make sure that I give them a leg up so that they do better than me. That our desires that our kids always do better than us, and then the legacy is that they started earlier with a better example, so they'll be able to pass that down to their kids. So I'm thinking about grandchildren and great grands,
Mhm.
passing down the legacy of that. So for me, that's just a legacy of just just showing what life is about and not just surviving and existing and hoping you make a good living and then retire and die. Like I don't want to show my kids that. That's a waste of time. But like, pointing them to the creator and then living a life that's fulfilled in his purpose, his calling, and passing that to them as soon as possible. That's what we've been trying to do. And so it's legacy to me.
That's good. That's good, man. And I've been doing some studying, and man, when I first started this, I realized that a father's role that God's given him is to speak into our children's destiny, to speak into our future. Like you said legacy,
It's good, bro.
because what happens is when you speak into them, when you speak into their identity and speak into their future, you create a generation of people that's perpetuating what you're saying to them, what you're speaking into them. Like every day I tell my son, you're great, you're a champion, you can do anything. Jesus loves you. Do something great
Mm-hmm.
today. So every day when I drop him off at
Good, bro.
school, he expects me to say that. So now
Mm-hmm.
when he grows up, so in his mind now, he can do anything and that he's great. So as he grows up and I keep doing that, that he's going to teach that to his kids, to his kids. So generational curses that were happening in my family and the bloodline of the men in my family stops with me.
Facts.
So
I love it.
he creates a whole. I'm creating a whole nother bloodline, a whole nother generation of men, of Holloway men, and it's so amazing how I looked at what it meant for your child to have your last name, especially a son, to carry
Mm-hmm.
on the legacy of the family. Because I just hear people say, "I want my son to carry on the legacy of the family. I want my family name to keep going," but I never understood the importance of that until now
Mm.
because what I say, the legacy of my father with me is I leave, fatherlessness. But the legacy of my son, of Caleb, is going to be greatness. My dad
Mm-hmm.
is there, wisdom, knowledge, accountability, integrity, character. So as fathers, when we do that, we create another bloodline and we start another generation. And you're starting another generation with your son because you forgiven your father, but now you're in his life and you're keeping it going. You teach him how to be a man. You teach him how to be a godly man. Teach him those things. So it starts another generation over. And you speaking into that, I did. Man, I could talk about this all night, bro.
Nah, it's
All
good
right.
stuff, bro. It's real
Yeah.
good stuff.
So what's the best part of being a father, man?
I think seeing my kids develop their own characteristics is cool. It's like, at some point you can see, oh, this one's more like me, this one's more like her. But then at a certain point, it's like, wait a minute, that's totally different. That's neither one of us. What the crap is that? And it's just, there's like, they got their own, this is their own divine mix of uniqueness and individualism. And you realize that I knit you together in the mother's womb of your kid because there will never be. I tell my son all the time, I'm like this, your name's Josiah, but and there's other kids with the name Josiah, but there's never going to be another you. You're the only you that
Right.
God ever made. And I see that all the time. He's crazy unique. He's got his own set of gifts and skills and his own set of interests, and he's just so. And Shekinah's the same way. They've got their own uniqueness to them, and seeing that just develop, and it makes you realize there's the parts you had to do with it, the parts that God used your DNA and your genetics and your teaching and all that to shape your kids, and then there's a part that you had absolutely nothing to do with, and it makes you all the
Right.
more grateful for the Creator, and all the more humbled that wow, He gave me this gift. I have the privilege of stewarding this gift and taking care of this treasure of this life that is unique. And so it's just cool to see that develop, because it just reminds me every day, like, wow, God trusted me with this little girl, this little boy. He trusted me with them. That's crazy. So that's my favorite
Yeah,
part.
man. Yeah, it is. As when we look at our kids, and you said something key that I never really broke it down, but like Caleb, he has parts of his personality that I can see that in me, and I can see that in my wife. But like I said, we do look at him and be like, "Hold on, that's neither one of us," because he is well, he's strong willed, but that's from his mama. I can say
Yeah.
that he's very strong willed, and but when we look at that, and when you look at that characteristic and a mix of the two characteristics, and then like I said, the characteristics that neither one of you that God put in there, and then you look at the call that's on their life and the purpose that's on their life, and you see why. And then that's when you go to God and like, okay, God, I need you to show me how
Yeah.
to father this person, how to teach this person, because it's got to be you. You put this in them, so now you got to show me. And that's one of the things that when Caleb was born, before I even saw his characteristics, we got prophetic words over about the call that's on his life. So I was like, okay, God, you got to teach me how to raise him, because I didn't have a father, so I don't know how to do this.
Yeah,
So
bro.
yeah.
Serious crap, man. I remember being in that room and I was like, yeah, I really don't know what to do. What manual do I read? Like, somebody passed me the cliff notes. What do we do here? And
Right. And,
it increases your dependency, right? Because like you're like, God, if you don't come, that's the best place in the world to be with anything, like business, life, even parenting, marriage. Like, God, if you don't come through on this, it's all gonna fail. To make you dependent and be on your knees. And like with parenting, I was like, God, if you don't show me the ropes, put some good men in my life, give me patience where I don't have it, show me things I never saw.
mhm.
I'm gonna mess this up. And so it's really cool when God comes through on that, man. It keeps you dependent. Parenthood keeps you dependent on God,
Yeah.
and I think it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you said something key just now. You said put some good men in my life. And that's
Yeah, bro.
one of the things I realized one of the problems with fatherlessness, because a lot of these guys that leave is because they don't have good men in their lives to teach them how to stay, how to be a
Yeah,
good father, because you get scared
yeah, you get
when
scared,
you
bro.
have kids. But these guys, they don't have someone to say, okay, this is what you do. This is how
Right.
you do it. This is what you say. So I have men now that I call and I be like, hey, I need some fatherhood advice. This is what he's doing. How do I handle this? Did I cause this? How do I break this?
Yeah,
And they'll give me advice. And that's one of the things that, even though I didn't have my father, I had that. I had a community of men um, in my life, because I grew up in like one of the worst neighborhoods on the East Coast.
mm,
And people would talk to me like, how did you get out of that? How did you not get affected by that hood? And was because I had God blessed me with a community of men in my life that were father figures for me. I had a father figure for every stage of my life
mm.
that was a mentor for me, that helped me to be a man, taught me about manhood. And even though I didn't listen every time to everything,
Right, 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 right,
but
right.
it helped me, and it helped me to become the man that I am. And that's good, man. But that was a good point, because a lot of these men need father figures. They need mentors in life. And
Yeah,
I think if they had that, then that would lessen the blow, or lessen the amount of fathers leaving the home.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, that's big stuff. My wife and I, we have couples in our life, mentor couples that we look to. And for me, it's like I'm looking 20 years down the road, your kids love each other. They living right. They, everybody ain't out here tripping out, living crazy lives. Like y'all still together and married. The kids love
Uh-huh.
y'all. The kids love Jesus. The kids are successful. Like, what did y'all do? And I look at them and I say, 20 years down the road, I want that to be me. So let me
Right.
follow behind y'all and live the type of life y'all live. And you start to notice certain patterns and things that just work. No magic bullet for anything, but I mean, shoot, just, training, you got a better chance of winning the game.
There you
So,
go.
I just hanging with people that I can watch and just say, wow, I want to be like y'all when I grow up. You know what I'm saying? My kids are 20 when they look at me the way your daughter looks at you, the way your son looks at you. And
Yes.
that's what I
Yeah.
want, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so good, man. That's so good, man. It's amazing, man. My son said to me one day, we were in the home. He brought a cape over me, and he said, "Daddy, be a superhero." And he wanted to put a cape. I put a picture on Facebook. We wrapped sheets around us, and my heart dropped. My thought was I hope that he always looked to me as that
hmm
superhero. And it
hmm
makes you feel good when they do that.
It does, man. Nothing wrong. They
Yeah.
feel great.
It does. It does. So let me ask you, how important are a father's words to his child?
I mean, everything was created with words, bro. So like for me, um, making sure that the words I speak are. I do the same thing you were saying earlier. Like I always stoop down on my knees, look my son eye to eye instead of looking down at him, and I hug him and I'm like, hey man, I'm proud of you. Daddy loves you. I get down on my knees and look my little girl in the eyes. I'm like, hey man, come snuggle with me. Daddy loves you. Want you to know I'm here. So I always tell them I love them and I'm proud of them every day. If I don't do anything else, I love you and I'm proud of you every day. So to me, those words that they get that often is important. And they live in this world where they don't understand that that's not that for some people that's not normal. That my daughter
Right.
understands my story a little bit, but I'm edging them into some of the brokenness of life to let them know like this is what some people go through and this is what how things are in some places, and I'm edging them into it so that they not take it for granted, but treasure it too. So God's been really, really good, man. So words, man, words mean everything. I think when they say sticks and stones and words will never hurt, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Words will hurt you for real, and they'll build you
Right.
up and give you life too. So
Yeah, words hurt worse than the sticks and
facts.
stones do, man, because like I said, they go deep into your heart and feel like you have a son and a daughter. And one of the things that I do believe also is that words are important to a daughter just as much as they are to a son, because
Oh,
you
bro.
speak her value to her, you speak her worth.
Mm.
How you speak to her determines how she lets another man speak to her.
Yeah.
And we gotta, it's one thing we have to realize and watch our words when we speak to our children, man, because especially at the age where we have young children, because it's going to go into them. If you keep saying it, they're going to keep believing it. If you keep saying it, they're going to keep believing it. They're going to keep believing it. They're going to keep believing it. And then they're going to grow up. If she feels like all the man is supposed to do is yell at her and scream at her and tell her she's nothing, that's what she's going to believe. And that's the type of man she's going to date. And then if
Yeah.
you're like one of the things, this is funny. I talk about this all the time. When I was coming up, I used to have a man or uncle say, "Boy, how many girlfriends you got?" And it's like, if you don't have 3 or 4 girlfriends, and you're not a man yet, you're not a man. But as I
hmm
got older, you know, that's how I thought. When I got to college, when I got to Norfolk State, it was like, it said the ratio of women to men was 20-1. I was like, well, I got to get my 20 and some of somebody else's 20 if they don't want it. Yeah, that's how I thought. And because I was told that if you didn't have more than one girlfriend, then you weren't really a man. But then nobody had came back to
Correct
refute
it.
that.
Yep.
So to correct that. So for my son, at first when he was born, people would say, "Oh, he'll be a player. He'll play it." No, he's not. No, he's not.
Negative. Dead
It's
all
not
that
gonna
right
be.
now.
Yeah, it's not gonna be how many girlfriends you got, son. If you have a girl, do you have a girlfriend? Okay, if you do, let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you're supposed to treat her. This is how
Yeah,
daddy treats
all
mommy.
that
Yeah,
player and pimp is the compliment stuff is dead over here. Like we done with all that. The culture is not
yeah,
shaping my son or my daughter's values. Dog. Like I'm not. That's dead over here. Like he come home here and something his little friend done said or something that slipped in there that I couldn't guard him from. soon as he said, I nip it in the bud if it's not where I want him to be. I'm like,
There you
nah, man,
go.
that's not how men do, bro. Like, that's not how this works. I remember my daughter, she's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, walking through the mall. And, you know, I try to protect my kids' eyes and ears. I don't let them see certain things. I just don't, like, you know, I'm shaping their worldview. I don't want the world to shape their worldview, and I got to try to fix it. I'm trying to shape it so when they see certain things, they can filter it through the view I give them.
That's
And so,
good.
but you can't protect them from everything. So, like, we walking through the mall, she sees Victoria's Secret, huge poster, everything out. And she's like, Daddy, why doesn't that lady have any clothes on? I was like, it had to be God, bro. Because I was like, yo, what the crap do I say? And then I looked at her and I said, sweetheart, she forgot how a princess is supposed to dress.
Oh, that's good. That was good.
And she was like, okay. And I'm like, whew, dodge that one. But like, how do I show her that? Right. She doesn't, hopefully she sees how I try my best to honor her mother. And I learned that I had to work on my patience because I can be a very impatient person. And over the years, I've gotten better. I used to yell at my kids very quickly if something wasn't right. And I'm ashamed of that now. But I heard Matt Chandler. Matt Chandler's one of my favorite pastors out of Texas. This cat said something changed my parenting mindset. He said parenting is not behavior modification. It's winning their heart.
Oh, wow. That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And when he said that, that hit me in the chest. I was like, dang, yo, like I'm quick with my kids to get them to shape up their behavior because I want my kids to be well behaved. I don't want them to be those kids. And I realized that I wasn't winning their heart. I was just getting them to obey. And that's not what I wanted.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, so can you listen to daddy because you know daddy loves you? You know, I got my best interest, or because you scared that when you get home, you go into your room, you can't play that. I don't want to parent like that. So they don't tighten me up. It's been tightening me up for years now. That one phrase. So yeah, man. So I just trying to pull back and make sure that the words I speak to my kids are life giving. Trying to show her and him like how to model life, and trying to make sure that I lift up their mother in front of them. If me and Tia have to have a conversation about something, that what they hear in front of them, we have a grown folk conversation, is not in front of the kids. Like, why would I do that? But I've messed up and done that before, which is incorrect. So just daily trying to grow. And another thing too, like I really found out it's important for me anyway, is that when I do mess up, that my son and my daughter see the man repent into whoever he messed up to, whether it's them, whether it's my wife, whether it's somebody else. I let my kids see me full blast, like, hey man, I messed up. I really apologize, and I hope you'll forgive me. And it's made my kids be honest. My kids would come home from school and tell me something that I would never have found out. Like, Daddy, I did this today, and I'm really sorry. And I'm like, where are you gonna tell me like that? You gonna self snitch like that? And it's been cool to see that response, man. So yeah,
that's good, man. That's good. I like that self snitch. You go self snitch like that.
Self snitch.
That's good.
I want my kids to self snitch. I want them to trust me enough to come self snitch. Like, I want my kid to be able to come home and say, man, Dad, you about to get a call from the teacher because I really screwed up today. I would love for that to happen. Like, the old me would have been like, I just want to tighten up so you never make no mistakes. But I'd rather you make all your mistakes now and get them out the way while we're home before you go out there without me. I heard this real estate cat. This young dude was asking this older real estate cat, like, hey man, what do I do to be successful? Like, give me the secret so I can skip all this, just trying to make it big. And the old dude's like, you really want to know the secret? He's like, yeah, tell me the secret. And the old guy says, go out there right now and fail as quick as you can, as much as you can, and as often as you can, and get it out the way. The faster you get all your mess ups out the way, the more successful you'll be. And that made me think about, like, if my kids gonna mess up, if they gonna fail, I'd rather them fail while I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And fail around me as much as possible, so that I can help them take failure in the right perspective, man. Because if you don't know how to fail well in life, you will have a very frustrating life. And I want to help them do that, so they have a better. I'm learning stuff at 30 that I want them to learn at 10. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes as parents, you try to shelter your kids from all that, from failing, because we don't really want them to fail. or we try to shelter them, but we don't realize that for them to learn, they have to fail sometimes in certain things to learn how to get back up. And we have to
Tell you,
be
it's
there for
mandatory,
them.
bro.
Yeah, we have to be there for them to say, okay, now that you get back up through God, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So now if you did that, now let's figure out how to do it. Like my son, he'll say to me, Daddy, I can't do it. I can't do it. I say, don't say you can't. Say, how can you do it? Let's figure out how you can do it. So if you fall, if you mess up, well, he'll say, Daddy, it didn't work. It's not working. No, son,
Yeah.
you got it. You just have to do it this way. Let's learn. So we have to be there for them. That's good that you do that. So you can be there for them to teach them how to do it the other way, because what they learn now will be their building blocks for success later down the road as they get older.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. So now we talked about in the beginning, we talked about your father and how you forgave him. So what advice would you give your children about forgiveness?
Man, I try to point out opportunities to them where they didn't necessarily earn the forgiveness or the gift that they got. And I
Okay.
try to teach them that that's forgiveness. Like, if you wait for forgiveness to be something that you give when it's deserved, you won't be forgiving a lot of people. If somebody doesn't come and say, I'm sorry when they do you wrong, or, I tell my girl, some little smart mouth girl say something slick at school, you got to forgive her now, not when she comes and says I'm sorry, because she may not come and say I'm sorry. It may not get better. That relationship may not get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
You do your best to go do it. And then I just tie it back to Christ. I'm like, listen, if the Bible says he forgave in advance, he didn't wait for anybody to say I'm sorry. So I had to forgive my dad. You need to forgive other people. I try to live it and show it to them. And like, even if things don't get right, you still got to forgive. One of the biggest things for me, man, like, I preach about this a lot. I talk about it all the time. John Piper said, forgiveness is the release of a perceived debt owed to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's letting go of a debt that I think is owed to me. And even when you look at the Lord's Prayer, like when he says, hey, forgive us our sins in the present tense, as we have in the past tense forgiven others. He's saying, like, Lord, please forgive me for what I've done today, the same way I've already forgiven everybody else, and keep forgiving them. Like, there was an expectation in the Lord's Prayer that if you're going to be coming to the Lord for forgiveness, as you're going to need to do on a regular basis, that you're
Uh-huh.
living a life of forgiveness already, and you're not harboring any bitterness. Because other times Jesus says, look, if you don't forgive others, I can't forgive you. If you bring in a gift to the altar, like, put it down, go forgive, or I don't want your gift at all. Like, he's like, forgiveness is the main reason I came, and it's really important. He's like, if you don't understand forgiveness, you miss the entire point of the gospel. Like, if you got bitterness and anger,
Yeah.
you don't understand the grace I'm giving you. And therefore, if you don't understand it, you're probably just saying words and saying prayers, but you're not really saved because you haven't understood your need for repentance and forgiveness. So how could you give it to anybody else? So it's really deep. And so I try to model that, man, to my kids. Like, yo, I don't deserve forgiveness, man. If you can give it to me, please do. Or this person doesn't deserve forgiveness. So give it to them anyway, because God gave it to you. And we'll give it to you when you mess up, because you're going to mess up again. And he's still going to give it to you. So I try to show them that. I feel like I talk a bunch, but I feel that's what I try to do.
Oh no, you good, man. No, it's good. That's what we're here for, man, to talk as much as we can to get the whole goal, man, of this, what I'm trying to do, like we talked earlier, is to reach these fathers, reach men, even especially new fathers, because there
Yeah.
are men out there that's just having kids who they don't know these things.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
I'm a new father, and my
How
whole
old your boy?
goal was he's 3. He'll be 4
Oh,
in
nice.
April. Yeah,
Nice.
man. He's in that I tell everybody, I say, y'all told me about the terrible 2s, but nobody told me about the terrible 3s.
Yeah.
Nobody told me about 3. And like 3 is whew, I'm excited to see what 4 is gonna be like.
Yeah, man.
Um,
It's so fun, man. Cause they start to all the stuff that you hope that you would see them responding to and learning. You realize they had it in them the whole time, and those seeds start to blossom at like 4 and 5. You're like, okay, I wasn't wasting my breath. It's really
uh,
cool, man. It's fun to
one
see, bro.
one of my spiritual mothers, my wife and I went to Richmond, And she sat down, she talked to us about him. And she said to me, she said, when he turns 4, that's the time where you have to have a pivotal conversation with him and say some things have to change, or this is how things are going to be, because the things that you go allowed to get away with at 3, from now on, you can't get away with that. And it was good because I took that to heart, because I'm big on pivotal times and pivotal moments with my son. I love how I was doing a study of Jewish culture. And I love how they had a bar mitzvah for their sons, and that's where they set their son's identity for manhood, and they talked to him about being a man, and he's pronounced a man at 16. And I said to myself, I said, we don't do that for our sons.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that we don't get our sons at a certain age where we pronounce them men, where we proclaim or pronounce their manhood on them. We set their identity for them. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start doing those things for my son. So at certain ages, I want to do certain things for him to let him know that you're going into a certain age. So this is starting. This is how you have to do things you have to do. And I actually kind of want to do so like a bar mitzvah for him. Not that they do, but something that coming of age. Yeah, a celebration when he turns 16. Our girls had a sweet 16. When he turns 16, I'm planning on doing something big for him that shows him, okay, now you're going into another part of your life. Now your identity, you're growing more into your identity, into your destiny. Okay, let's celebrate this and let daddy set you on course for what you have to do for the next 10 or 20 years of your life. So that's the goal, man.
That's good, man. I mean, my uncle did something like that for his kids, and that's the first time I saw some sort of ritual ever of "you're now a man," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I just never seen a model ever. Hadn't heard the expectation. All we got from the culture around us is the markers are drive, 16 drive, 18 into the military, smoke, 21 drink, have a good life. That's what that has worked out well for us. But I mean, there's so much to it, man. Like I think that I've actually been thinking about that, like not really consciously, but just in the back of my mind, because it was like I tell my son all the time, like, hey, you're growing up to be a man. As a man, these are things you need to know. You are a young man. You're my little man. Like I'm building him up for the day, because I know the day is coming when I'm going to say, okay, son, now you're a man, right? And it wasn't until I was thinking about that for him that I looked back over my life and I was like, dang, that was a big thing for me. Nobody ever actually sat me down, looked me in my eyes, and said, you're a man. Right. And I'm like, today you're a man. Right. Well, I know I am, but that was because I was 18 plus. So before that, it was a child. That's another weird thing too. Like we created this weird thing called adolescence where we don't know if we're kids or adults anymore. If you look at that in history, you know what I'm saying? Like if you look at that, like that's a relatively new concept. Like all of history, it was child and man. You know what I'm saying? That was it. And then we created this murky adolescent thing, and now it keeps growing and growing and growing. And now cats is like in their boxes at 36 trying to figure out life and you know what I'm saying, playing games all day because they never grew up. And like that adolescence thing is weird. I heard somebody make this case at a conference and I was like, I never thought of it that way. But all of history has just been, you were a child, now you're not. And I think we just need to get back to that. Like I don't really plan on, ever since I heard that, I don't plan on adolescence. Like, I don't know if it's going to be 13 or it's going to be 16, but at some point it's going to be like, yo, man, now.
Yeah. And because in the Bible, that's what they did. They had those moments where their sons were children and then they became men. And then they became men. They led the household. Some of them, who knows what age they got married, but they was at 900, they were young. So, but yeah, but that's what we need to do, man. And that's something that I feel that needs to be almost like a trend set for men, especially in the Black culture. And I'm not saying it's a race thing, but we don't affirm. I wasn't affirmed as a man until I was in my late 30s. And it was at a church service with my pastor. He was affirming the young boys, and then he said, there's some men in here that haven't been affirmed, and he came and hugged me and said, "Son, I affirm you as a man," and I broke, man, and
Mm-hmm.
I broke because I never heard it, even though I had the father figures. I never heard someone come to me and say, "I affirm you as a man." And when that happened, man, it changed my life. But I broke at that moment and just broke out crying because I never ever heard that. But yeah, but
I
man,
had a similar moment, bro. Like my friend named Ford Taylor, he does these big conferences called transformational leadership for churches, for corporations, and all type of stuff. And it's just straight gospel presentation. Depending on where he is. But he did. I've been to it a couple times, but he did this one thing one time where he just straight up just said, "There's some men in here like who you need to know how the Father cares about you." And I mean, I've seen grown men like twice my age just going
wow.
up and just getting a hug from this man. I went up and got a hug. I'm like, shoot, I ain't gonna try to fake it. I needed to. And I got up, man, and that dude hugged me and said, "Man," he's like, "You're a man. I love you." And he's like, "You know what? If I would have been proud to have had you as my son." And bro, I
Whoa.
just cracked, just weeping, bro. I never heard anybody say that to me, dog. And it was just a crazy
Yeah.
moment um to have another grown man say, "You know what? I would have loved to have had you as a son." I was just like, what? Um, so anyway, it's just really cool to see God do that for you through people, and to show you how important those roles are. Like, we're so broken on understanding fatherlessness or
Yeah.
father and fatherhood that we want to try to make a way around it. Like we don't need it. We're misunderstanding dad roles and mother roles, and misunderstanding every role possible now. And it's just like, you know, it's just not to knock nobody, but then even when we do the Happy Father's Day card for mom, I'm like, dude, my mom wasn't there. I ain't giving my mom no doggone Father's Day card. She get a great Mother's Day card. She's an amazing mom. But it just feels, I mean, that's us trying to fill a void because the void is so important. We're trying to fill it with something else and it just doesn't work. Um,
Yeah.
and so like we gotta acknowledge that and move on and keep looking to the Lord for healing. But I mean, I'm just trying to change it. I think I this cool thing too, man. Like I got this song I did a while ago called "Wish I Knew You." It's on like Spotify and all that stuff. It's about my dad. I'm gonna redo it this year. And
Okay.
but I did it at this little fellowship thing, and I had an older dude come up to me like in his 50s because at the end of it the last 8 bars of the song, I just challenge any man listening that left their kids to go back and to get them. And I had this dude come up to me, man, in his 50s, dog, just tears. And he was like, "Man, I just got out of jail a couple of years ago. And I'm just so ashamed I can't go to my kids. Like I just haven't been with my
Wow.
kids." And he's like, and he said, "You just called me out, man, and I need to go see him." He just broke down, bro, and just started crying. And I was like, "Man, go get your kids, bro." Like, yeah, I said, "You don't think you have anything to offer them, man, but you do. Just your presence. They need you. Like I know stuff ain't right. I know the situation that you're in, bro. But just go tell your kids you love them, you're sorry, and you want to be in their life, and just let God take it from there." Um, so that was crazy because I've always seen at my shows and that when I speak, whatever, like the younger cats say, "Man, I need to forgive my dad, or I need to call my mom. I ain't talked to her in forever. I need to forgive my mom." So I get a lot of messages about that. But that was the first time I ever had a grown man say, "Yo, I need to go seek my kids." And I was like,
Mm.
wow. So
And that's that's
yeah,
that's the impact I want to have, man, with this, man, because I want that men who haven't been there to be able to say, how can I get back in there? And then they be able to get resources or wisdom to be able to go back and go back in the kids' lives no matter how long they've been gone. And the first step, like you said, is just to go. To
mm-hmm.
go because they still need your presence. They still need you. Just go. Just take the step. Just do it afraid and go. And even if they say, I don't want to see you, at least you made that step because you never know what they may say. They may be there with open arms. They may just
Yeah,
need time. Like you needed time with your dad. When your dad came
right.
back, you needed a minute. You said, hold on. Yeah, I just need a minute. It's just too much on me right now. But then you had a chance to go and think about it. And you guys had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to talk. So, and that's what I want to be able to help other men do. And you made a point about coming out of jail. There are men in jail who haven't seen their kids in years that come out and want to see their kid. Their kids like, I don't know you. I was watching it's a funny show. You ever seen The Last OG with Tracy Morgan?
Yeah, I saw like 1 or 2 episodes of it. It don't look like it's funny. I ain't watching all of it, but
It's funny, man. But it's to light up the moment. He came out of jail after 15 years and realized he had 2 kids. And his whole goal was to get back in their lives. He did everything possible. He went and tricked the new husband to tell him where the school was. But the thing that I said to say, he made an effort and he did what he needed to do to get to his kids. And so he snuck them away to go and show them where they came from and show them the roots and to show them who he was and how him and his mom started. But the thing that the part that I love is that he did what he had to do. He didn't pay attention to the baby mom saying you can't see them, or the people not telling them where they were. He said, "I'm going to see my kids."
They had his own plan. I remember that.
Yep. He said, "I'm going to see his kids," and that's the thing that you want to have. And one last thing I want to say is, and I haven't said this yet, what my dad not being there did to me was it made it hard for me to see God as Father.
Yeah.
You know, when people would say, you know, you can see God as your Father, as he'll never leave you, he'll never forsake you, he'll never leave you hungry. You know, and they had an example where when you come home and dad's gonna have food in the fridge, it's gonna be just go to the fridge, take it out. But I never experienced that because I never had that. So for years, it was hard for me to go to God and say, I expect from my Father. I know my Father's going to do this. I know God, my Father's going to do that, because I didn't know what it felt like. So I had like a cliche relationship, in church where they, you can buck on cue, you can shout on cue, you can speak in tongues on cue. That's what I had. And and I with God, so it wasn't a real genuine. It wasn't until like my late 30s and 40s that I got a real genuine relationship, because I had an understanding of God being the Father. And it was when I forgave my dad, my biological father, and I was at peace with him not being there. Then I was able to go and say, okay, God, I see you. And I see how you've been providing for me. I see how you've been caring for me. I see how you've been there when I needed you. So now I can see him as Father. And it was hard. It was hard for a minute. But
tough, man.
yeah, I got it. But
tough.
man,
and I don't think people realize that they can, that the whole idea is that we reflect the image of the Father to our families. So when that's taken away, it's skewed if you're not careful. I made a case. I got to speak on a conference on fatherlessness 2 weekends ago at Southeastern Baptist Theological in Wake Forest, North Carolina. And I made the case. I was like, we need to make fatherlessness the gospel imperative. And what I mean by that is, depending on what type of church you go to, whatever, certain things are focused on, whether it's, homelessness or abortion or, taking care of the poor or mission trips or marriage ministry, like certain things we have ministries for. I have never seen a church ministry focused on fatherlessness.
Right. Nope. You haven't.
Right. Now I've seen, by default, we care for like single moms and kids and all that. Like we care for them and love them and, show them special attention. We should. But I feel like there's never been a, hey, let's take care of the root issues of fatherlessness or the suffering that you're going through because of it or the needs the single mom has because of it, outside of just giving food. Like what else is she dealing with? And I think it's understandable because we feel like because of our language and because of the gospel language itself, that we're reconnected to the Father. We think that we've dealt with biological fatherlessness on a horizontal level. And we have to be more intentional, I think, about that. Like this kid is going to go through these sets of things because his father has abandoned him. And this mom is dealing with these type of feelings. So we need men to step in and fill the gap, not even to be romantic with the mom, but just to be
Right.
here for this kid, to show this girl the way. Like, we need to be more intentional about that. Because I had somebody point out to me one time, I don't remember what it was. I think it was a group of guys. I feel like I was in a group of guys, and dude steps in and says, "Hey man, quote to me the first commandment with the promise." These are all believers who think we know what we're talking about. And it's like, yeah, man, honor your mother and father that you may live long in the land. He said, wrong. It's honor your father and mother. Why did you reverse that? I was like,
wow.
didn't even realize. You know what I'm saying? Didn't realize we put mom first, because why would we say honor your father? And so that stuff turned out to be real important to me. Like, I found out even later, like I think my son was like two or three. And I was just holding him or something like that. And I realized that for some reason I never called him son. I just never called him son. It was like my boy, my kid, proud of him, love him, play games with him. But I never said the word son because I never heard it. And I remember trying to say son to him and literally stuttering and couldn't get it out. And I was like, Jesus, like, I didn't realize, I mean, I got wife and kids and all. This is my second kid. And I'm having a good time. I didn't realize how deep some of that stuff was. But I know our time's up, man. I just wanted to tell you this cool story about how God redeemed or showed me he's involved in my parenting process. And it gave me hope about
take your time, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's through my kids' names, right? So my daughter was born, and before we even had a kid, I was just kind of like afraid of the whole fathering thing, but excited too, right? Like, I've always loved kids. And so I'm like, hey, T, if we ever have a little girl, I'd love to name her Shekinah, God's manifested presence and all that. So she gets pregnant. We decide to name her Shekinah. We get to, the moment of truth. Shekinah is, born. She's about 5 minutes old, fresh out the oven. And and I'm holding her, and I'm like, wow, little baby's 5 minutes old. Like, I don't know what to do. God, I don't want to mess this up. My mother comes to me and she says, do you have any idea what today is? And I'm like, no. Like, today is your father's birthday.
Wow.
So it's like a decade later, you can't plan that. She's born on my father's birthday.
Right.
I never knew my dad's birthday until the day my daughter was born.
Wow.
And if you get into the numbers and stuff, she's born on 7/7. So you can't plan that stuff, dude.
July baby, yes.
July baby, man. So my son, when I was going through that scripture, honor your father and mother, and I was like, well, how do I honor my dad? Like, he's dead. And I was like, T, if we ever have a boy, I would love to give my dad's first name as his middle name, right? Which is Daniel, just Daniel with a Z. And so she's like, cool. Well, if we have a boy, I want to name him Josiah. And I was like, I don't know about all that. Anyway, she gets pregnant. She wins the argument because she's my wife. And we're about 8 months in. And I'm like, well, let me look up what this means. Since his name's going to be Josiah Daniel Anderson, let me look up what this means. And I looked it up. And in the Hebrew, Josiah literally means God heals. So my son's name is God heals Daniel Anderson. Wow. My son's literal name is God heals my dad. And we didn't plan. You don't plan that stuff, bro. Like, we had picked it and didn't look it up till months later. So I just see God like whispering from heaven, speaking into my father. The biggest fear of my life, he continued to speak through as he worked it out in my kids. And showed me that he's got his hand on that too. So that gave me hope, and that gives me hope for anybody struggling with fatherlessness. If you give it to God, he got it under control.
That's good, man. That's awesome, man. So before we go, one piece of advice to fathers out there.
Man, what I just said, bro, like, give it to God and get out the way. You don't have all the tools. You're not man enough. You're not strong enough. You don't know enough. You're not going to be the perfect disciplinarian enough. You're not wise enough to give your kids everything you need on your own. Do not try to do something that was intended. Do not try to do something that God does perfectly by yourself. Let the Lord guide you clearly on that, whether that's repenting, whether that's loving, whether that's laughing, whether that's forgiving yourself for not being perfect. Give that hurt, that pain to God, and let him do something amazing through it. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. That's my biggest thing for any dad out there, whether you're present, whether you're doing perfect, whether you're messing up, whether you're not around. Give it to God, go get it right, and keep trusting Him no matter where you are in the journey. That's my advice.
That's good, man. That's good. Thanks, man. Again, bro. Thank you for being on here with me tonight. Appreciate it. Appreciate your testimony. Appreciate the wisdom.
Thank you,
Again,
bro.
you know, we're gonna be doing some other things together too, man.
Nice.
We're here with this fatherlessness thing, man. So and then we'll get you up here again, man. But I appreciate you
Cool.
coming on, man. And thank you, bro. Love you, man.
Love you too, Nate.
All right.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Have a good night, man.
All right, big homie.
All right. All right, guys. That was my man, Nigel Legin Anderson. Like I said, go to Spotify, check out his music. His stuff is nice. I'm going to check out that song on, he was talking about fathers, but thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys shared this. You can still share it as long as it's on the page. You can go to our YouTube page, find it and share it. Follow us on kingdomrelationships.org. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And guys, if you have any questions, just email us at krelationships@gmail.com. If you want to tell your testimony, email us. If you want advice, if you just want to tell your heart, if you're a father out there and you just need to let it all out, email us. Email me, krelationships@gmail.com, or message me on Facebook. Love you guys. Until next week, we got some more interviews coming. We got interviews all the way through the year. So next week, we'll see you guys on Monday night, same place, same time. Love you. Be victorious.